SEO is a great game, but it's also a long-term game. So this is what my team sent me. So you can see here, we've jumped. Let me just get a slap pause because that's going to annoy me. We've jumped quite a lot high spaces here. You can see we've jumped 72 spaces on these keywords. We've jumped 18 spaces on these keywords. We've jumped 70 spaces on these keywords. So SEO is all about writing content and writing the right type of content, writing lots of content, as well as all the technical stuff in the background. So we use this tool called SEMrush. It's a great tool. You can, there's many things that you can do with it, but basically your keyword magic tool is kind of where you would probably want to start. So I would encourage anybody with a website to start doing SEO from the beginning. I wish I'd started it from the very beginning, even if you're just doing it yourself, because it takes a lot of time. Like I've had a full team on this now, spent, a lot of money investing in that team and the technology and everything that we've been doing just to get to the point where we're at now, about a year down the line, and we're just starting to see a bit of traction. Our website's only recently, probably about 4 months ago, started actually getting read daily by Google, which is a big step forward. But until you start getting content and backlinks out there, then you're not going to get anything read by Google. So your SEO work is really in vain and won't actually produce any magic tips. So let's just say, for example, here we do Airbnb management and we search this keyword. So this basically tells us, this tool tells us, of these keywords in the UK here, we've got Airbnb magic. So what you're wanting is you want neither commercial or transactional. You're not really wanting informational, because that means that people are just going there to get information. They're not really going there to transact or to do a commercial transaction. So you're wanting the C's or the T's, and you're wanting keywords that are ideally green or orange, but they've also got high volume. So you'll see here, it's not massive volume, 480 people a month searching it, but it's not too bad in terms of competition. It's on the high side. Whereas this here, for example, 210, but green, that would be very easy to rank for Airbnb management Brighton. Versus, say, is there any reds in here? No, there's not. But if we did, let's say, for example, property management, you'll probably see with a bit of luck, there'll be a lot more volume, but there'll also be a lot more keyword difficulty. So there'll be probably some reds in here, I would imagine. You see there, property management jobs, probably not relevant. Property management companies, 2,943, not too bad in terms of difficult. So it's possible that we could get there and we can start ranking on the pages. So you basically want to be trying to find like these greens here, and you want to be trying to rank on the right keywords. Now, when I say rank on the keywords, what you basically then need to be doing, you need to be writing content, blogs, and your website structure as it is with these keywords in. Now, you also, back in the day, you used to just write property management, property management, property management, property management, and you used to get ranked by Google. But now Google is advanced enough to know when someone's just spamming a keyword. So what you have to do is you have to cleverly write about it on your website in such a way. Now, you don't need, like if I did property management, say Newcastle, it's a bit more of a longer keyword. This is probably more achievable for us. I don't actually need to put property management Newcastle in that row, in that same. I could just talk about property management, but then also talk about Newcastle as a city, and Google would marry that up as property management Newcastle and put 2 and 2 together. So when someone was searching, so you see here, property management Newcastle upon Tyne, there's only 90 searches a month, but the chances of me actually ranking on that, writing about an article on that, is very high. So if we were to write a few articles around property management Newcastle upon Tyne, there's a good chance those 90 people that search a month would land on our website, or we would definitely rank in the top, first 5 or 6 on Google when someone types that in. So that's all well and good, but you know, the volume's not really there. However, if you did property management Newcastle, property management Durham, property management Sunderland, and you started to add up all of these little 90s, 70s, etc., then you're going to start getting a lot of traction each and every month. But it's about putting the time and effort into writing the content, writing good content, writing articles. So my team are constantly writing stuff. They're constantly writing articles, and they're constantly trying to get our articles onto other websites, because that's when the magic really starts to happen. So it's called backlinks. So if you get your backlinks, when you're getting, let me just have a look here, backlink ordered. Basically, what you want to do is you need to try and get your company name mentioned on other websites. So you can do backlink swaps. You can do all sorts of. Hold on, I think it's the bug on that. I don't dive into this too much. It's more the guys, but you can do. You know, you can launch PR articles. You can pay for PR on other websites. You could do some sponsored stuff. You can and anything you can do to just try and get your name in the local news, anything like that that you can get in into someone else, then you can get a backlink onto your website, and that really helps. Like Google loves that stuff. The more backlinks you can get, then the greater it is. Now, don't be fooled that you can actually go onto Fiverr and buy backlinks, because you can. You can go onto Fiverr. You can buy backlinks, and they'll just backlink you to anything. That will do more harm for your website in the long run than doing it properly and doing it slowly but surely and getting the right backlinks linked to the right type of websites. So in an ideal world, we want, say, for example, our Luke Stays website, we want that backlinked with travel blogs, travel websites, you know, potential property websites, guest type websites, anything like that. We would want backlinks with those type of websites. We wouldn't want backlinks with gaming websites or you know, digital electronic websites or anything like that, because there's no relevance. So that would actually harm us. Even though we would get mentioned, it would actually harm us more than it would do us good. Google is a very, very sophisticated tool, and I would say it's probably more intelligent than human. To be honest, its brain is very, very, very powerful. So I think how you can exploit this is on your websites, whether you've got, you know, a website for your acquisitions, or whether you've got a website for your actual hosting of guests, whatever it is, you need to be writing the right type of content based on the keywords. So we have a list of keywords that we're constantly pulling off all the time. So we'll have you know, various keywords. I'll see if I can find the list. Yeah, here. So so we have like keywords like this. So, you know, like online travel agent, travel booking company, service departments near me, you know, studio apartments for rent, whatever. You know, we've got all these different types of keywords. So that's our main focus keywords for this month. And what we then do is the copywriters then write blogs around those keywords to try and then rank on those keywords. Because you can see here, we've got the search volume, but we've also got the difficulty levels. So these ones here, your 22s, your 38s, your 35s, your 9s, they're more than likely going to be very easy for us to compete on. But you can see here, the search volume's 50 to get 9. That wouldn't be worth probably the effort of doing it. So what we want to be doing is probably focusing somewhere around here. You know, that's a very good one. I've got a lot of search volume, but it's very low on the difficulty to rank on service department. So then you break it down and you can add other stuff in there as well, and you'll start ranking. So what you want to do is make sure that, you know, you're writing these blogs and getting the content out there. Now, also, it's not just about writing blogs. This is kind of where the experts come in. When you are tagging your blogs with your meta tags and everything else, when you're in WordPress and you put a page up, so a blog is a page, or any other website, for example, you get to have your titles, your images, and your meta tags. Basically, they're the code that kind of sits on it names your page as such. You can writing the keywords on that code as well, and then also on your pictures. And you should be doing this on your you know, on your online travel agent photos and things like that as well, is actually naming the photos. You know, so you could be like, you know, this is, you know, a lounge in X apartment or serviced apartment or whatever it might be. It just all adds to keywords. Now the OTAs work different. Some of them are good and some of them are bad for that. But on your own website, any pictures that go in, you want to be describing the picture and trying to make it keyword specific. So you could put, say, for example, if the keyword was serviced apartments, you could put serviced apartment Newcastle Lounge, or you know, stay in our serviced apartment and, you know, whatever, look over this bridge, because it might be a picture of one of the bridges in Newcastle, whatever, you know. So you get the idea. You've got to add it all in. So the more content you get into each element of the site, the more your site ranks, and the more chance you've got of getting found. However, don't expect to do this tomorrow and start getting found. This is a daily commitment for probably the best part of the next 12 to 18 months. And then you might start seeing some results. So that is the downside. And that's why most people don't even entertain this. But one thing that I was sure of, you know, coming away from is the OTAs. I want to get away from the OTAs is like completely. I think, you know, and I've not been shy about this on socials, I think Airbnb are fucking cunts. And they are going to absolutely rinse us over the next few years. Like, their new air host cover policy is just the most ludicrous thing I've ever seen. We had a guest stay the other week and they didn't like the brickwork and we had to refund them 4 days, you know, no questions asked. You've got no say in it whatsoever. So and Airbnb's commissions are only going to continue to go up. So they do not see us as their customer. And that's a fundamental flaw in our business plan. We've got no control over anything that they do. And I don't like that. And I haven't liked that since COVID, since March 2020. So I've been working on this game since then. And, you know, networking with, say, you know, the likes of Chris down in Cannes, who does not use OTAs full stop to get any of his bookings, have really picked up some gems of advice. And, you know, that's why I've been working on this game, the SEO game and the direct booking game so much over particularly the last 18 months. I've kind of always worked on it, but really hard over the last 18 months. And I think, you know, another couple of years of doing what we've been doing, and I do genuinely think we will be able to turn the OTAs off and just have everything going through our own website. And, you know, that will be, you know, music to my ears and everybody else that's associated with Luke Stays. So, but, you know, work on it. I would, you know, if you haven't got the time to write, or you don't feel like you're very good at writing, again, I do think it's a skill you can learn. All you got to do is basically tell stories, have engaging stuff. To be honest, the way SEO works, it probably doesn't matter that much if you're not that good a writer. Just write and try and get the keywords in there, and you'll get better over time. You know, done is better than perfect. So I would just start the process, try and get 500 words at a time on each blog and get the blogs put on the website. And then obviously try and have a CTA to direct them to, you know, book here or email us here or give us a ring on this number or whatever it might be. The downside of writing unengaging content is Google can also spot that. So if people are coming onto your website, but the bounce rate's high, then they'll probably not want to rank you, because at the end of the day, they're trying to build a platform that serves up the best content to the user. So if they're seeing that someone's coming on your website and bouncing straight off because the content's crap or they're not really engaged, even though the keywords are there, they're probably not going to give you that much authority. Whereas if they're coming on, reading, then spending a bit of time going around your website, Google like that and think, okay, that's a good customer experience for our customer, so we want to give that website more presence. So you've got to kind of think about it. But there's a million ways you can do this. You could hire someone on Fiverr to write a blog a week and pay them $50, proper copywriter, and, you know, just get that out there. I personally think you need to be doing a lot more than a blog a week, but a blog a week's better than no blogs a week. So, you know, at least it's a start in the right direction. I think, you know, if you can spare, you know, half an hour on a morning and just write a blog and then get it posted up on your website and posted. I actually think, you know, what you'll notice about a lot of our content is a lot of it gets repurposed. So I'm a massive fan of multiplying content, and I guess that kind of brings me on to my next. Actually, Brandon, you got a question on the SEO stuff just before we kind of move on.
Yes, two questions. So one is, you know, you were showing your Excel sheet with the data. So you brought that from the SEM Rush, did you?
Yeah.
Did you extrapolate that?
Yeah, so I mean, in SEM Rush, you can actually, you don't necessarily need to pull it out. You've got these
that's search volume.
Where we are, projects here. So within the projects, you can actually, when you're doing your keywords, so you'll see here, let's go, which days? No, come on.
I've got the kids here that are going to make noise, so I apologize.
That's all right. When you are on here, we have where are we at? Is it projects? It's not project. Basically, there's a place that you can save your key. Oh, here, keyword manager. That's it. So when you're searching your keywords, you can save them in like these project lists.
Oh, okay.
And then you can, so you don't necessarily need to download them onto spreadsheets. So you just see, as we find good keywords that we want to try and compete on, we just save them into this list, and then we have different lists for different websites, and then we'll give this to the copywriters, and then they'll write about these keywords, and we'll more than likely say we want you to go after, you know, this one or this one or this one. So you know, you can see we've got, you know, a lot of keywords in here, you know, trying to get various different things, all just trying to point them back at the right website. You know, like there, short-term let leads, 480 volume, 26, quite an easy keyword, you know, but and not a bad volume in all fairness. You know, 480 people searching a month. If you can rank top 3, good chance you're going to get someone. And you can see that actually that's an informational keyword, so that's not actually that good. That's probably someone wanting to understand about short-term lets and leads as opposed to wanting to book accommodation.
But you've got that one in Manchester lower down, which is a
commercial
one.
So 590, 28, perfect. Yeah.
So it's 28. Can you see that 28 as the universe of people that type that keyword in?
So KD is keyword difficulty. So it shows you how difficult it is to rank in the top 10 for that keyword. So green is, it like it says there, easy.
It's good.
Yeah. So orange is kind of possible. You may or may not get it. And then you've got red, which is like here.
Awful.
Basically, just you'll need a lot of high quality reference domains and optimized content to get rent holiday house.
I see.
You know,
because there's no specificity.
No, it's more.
It's not specific.
It's more to do with the amount of people that are competing for that. You've got where is it at? So you might have so say for example, like holiday houses, for example, you see there's 6.6 thousand search volume. So you'll have like your big boys will be competing for that, like your Airbnbs will just have that as a keyword, you know, and they'll just be boom, 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 boom. So, you know, and they'll have all the backlinks for all the different websites and all that sort of stuff around that keyword. So the chance of you, little old you, getting that keyword is going to be quite difficult. So what you want to do is, and that's where a lot of people go wrong, because they'll try and go for these like, oh, look, there's 14,000 search volume for holiday let. You ain't never going to get holiday let, not anytime soon. So what you want to do is try and just go for these like more customized ones, and you can put 4 or 5 different keywords in the same blog. You know, you could go luxury apartment London, and we've also got stuff in Newcastle and da da da. So then tie luxury apartment Newcastle, London, Leeds, etc., and make it all work. But this SEM rush is really good because you can actually, I don't know whether you spotted it before, but you can actually spy on your competitors as well.
Oh.
So you can actually see what they're doing. So you'll see here. So we've got, all like you pass the keys, and all these different. You can have a look at them, and you can see what they're backlinking to as well. And this is kind of a strategy we've got. So what we do is we go and find out who they're backlinking to. So you can go down and find out, if they're paying for keywords as well. So they're paying for their own brand name, bid on brand, quite a low cost per click, which is a good strategy to go for. You can see
Isn't that breach of data?
No, you can bid on your own brand. So like Airbnb, or Airbnb, for example, will bid on Booking.com. And Airbnb will bid on probably like some of the bigger, like say LukeStays.com. So that when someone types in Luke Stays, an Airbnb ad shows and the book through Airbnb rather than come direct. So you can you want to try and rank on your own stuff. So when someone types it in, you're at the top. But you'll see here, these have got lots of backlinks. So this website here, this website here, they've backlinked to Frank Porter. This is a company in Dubai who do holiday home management. So what you could do is you could reach out to them and be like, hey, would you like me to write a blog for you? I noticed that you had one with Frank Porter and they wrote about X, Y, and Z. We're in the same game. So that's where we've got like people behind the scenes reaching out to people like PR agencies to try and get us into other people's blogs. Because when you get this backlink text, it really strengthens everything to do with your website. It really enhances it all. That's the difficult part of the game, because it's a bit like finding properties. You got to send a lot of messages out just to get one bite. But when you get the bite, then it really does your website a lot of good. But you've got to be doing it constantly. So that was that. Lee, have you got a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, so where do you write your blogs? Is it on your website or is it on like social media and stuff?
On your website. So this all has to link into your website.
Okay.
So if we go, it's also your website copy, like all the pages in your website as well. So it's not just your website, so all of like your copy on your website as well, it'll read that. And then obviously we've got like the blogs, and you can read, you can go through that, all the different blogs. All of these have just got, all different keyword type stuff that we've got in there as well. All these like different pages, expats in Dubai. So naturally, if someone wants to try and find accommodation in Dubai and they're an expat and type the keywords in, we'll rank. So it's about getting as much in as possible. As you can see, unfortunately, it's not just to do this and get that. It's very much you need to do a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of this, a bit of that, and a bit of that. And if you do it consistently over time, you'll get results from it. And the more, even things like, the more properties that we list on this website and the more descriptions we have around, certain areas or whatever, then the more chance we're going to rank whenever someone types in that keyword on Google. So that's kind of the SEO side of things that I wanted to go through. The next thing was kind of repurposing content. So we use this tool called Sprout Social. And it's a pretty cool tool, in all fairness. You can do a lot with it. It'll post at the right times for your audience engagements. But what I really like is kind of this reporting section where you can, drill down on your various accounts, and you can find out like what's working and what's not working. So, you want to be on your engagement rates is, you want to be having a look at, okay, well, these are very high engaging posts. The typical engagement rate is probably sub 5%. So anything that you've got over 5%, what you want to be doing is saying, let's have a look at it and see see where it's come from. So this was a LinkedIn post, and it was about mental health awareness. I think it was during the Mental Health Awareness Week. So, you know, very topical post at that specific time, and probably a post that, you know, gets a lot of attention these days. And, you know, a great post because we've got eyeballs on the website, eyeballs on the company. This looks like a property look around viewing on Facebook on our page. Again, very high engagement, 36.8%. Again, that's something different. Where we're at. Airbnb's policies, again, a story around that and decent engagement there. So, you know, you can see your different engagement. This one here, 8 engagement, 10%. So basically what you want to do is, like, if you're analyzing your data and you're analyzing which posts are working, you'd say, okay, well, this was a very topical post in that week. So what's topical this week? What can I talk about this week that's topical? This is how TikTok works. TikTok works on topical stuff. You know, if you get something that's what's called trending, i.e. a sound or a typical type of video, you get loads of views. Same for like YouTube and things like that. You want trending stuff. But then you will have kind of your run-in-the-mill stuff that just works, like, you know, like this property video, a little look around on the property and everyone gives it a thumbs up and great, blah, 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 blah. So, but what you can do is you use this, but when you want to post, you can literally just post. Once you've got all your accounts connected, you can just choose all of the different accounts that you want to post on. You just tick the boxes, decide, you type away. You can add your videos, add your images, whatever. Put your hashtags in for your Instagram, and then there's various ways that you can then post. You can either, so we do auto schedule, which basically means that Sprout Social picks up the best times that our audience engages on that specific profile, and it will send it out then based on the queue. Or you can decide send it now, or you can actually choose your own time and dates. And if you do choose time and dates, it actually has this thing called use optimal times. You tick that and it'll give you a star rating. And then from those stars, you can just decide how you want to do it. Again, I just use the queue. So if we look at, we got the dashboard, we'll have a load of stuff in the queue just ready to go. So this is really helpful if, you know, you're working, you know, other jobs, or you just want to batch content on a Sunday night and get it done for the week. You know, so you'll see here, you know, this is our queue for our Instagram. So we've got just, you know, post after post after post after post, just ready to go. And, you know, just a whole mix of stuff based on, you know, what's topical, what's not topical, a few adverts, a few pitch posts, all that sort of stuff. And we've got the same for, you can see there's 25 tweets ready to go. There's 17 of those posts. There's 16 posts to go on the LinkedIn. There's 16 posts to go on the Instagram. So they're all just ready to go. And the system will just automatically send them out into, you know, the time that it's picked. So 4 p.m. So 4 p.m. So obviously 4 p.m. seems to be the time that it wants to send as our optimal for this channel. Twitter might be something different. 4 p.m., 5:04 p.m., 6:08 p.m. So it then just sends it all out, and then you get to just then watch it coming through, and then managing the data through the reports and the insights. You can also spy on your competitors. You can hook your competitors up. You can see what they're doing. You can see how the engagement is, you know, all that sort of stuff. So you can see how your different channels are operating. Within your reports as well, you can have a look and say, okay, well, profile performance, choose a certain profile, and then you go, okay, well, I'm spending a lot of time, say on, let's have a look at this Instagram, 36,000 impressions, engagements dropped slightly. You can see here, okay, so, you know, is it worth my time and effort posting on this channel? You know, some of them might say no, you know, some of them might say yes. So you just have to kind of work out what suits, but always just be testing new content and trying to just, you know, push it further and further and further, and make sure that, you know, you're just getting out there with as much content as you possibly can. So that's kind of SEO and content multiplying. And I think if everyone has the discipline, because that's, I think, the main thing with this type of stuff is discipline and consistency, then you will get the results. So any questions on any of that? No. Cool. Any questions on anything else?
Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Steve.
All right. So, okay, so that sounds great. Like for me, I've tried writing every day, and writing just takes forever. So for me, I'm setting up a system where I'm getting on staff, taking on staff that can do that for me. That's one. I can sit there, I can do the all the programs that you're suggesting and tweak everything. Just give us a snapshot of like your business, when you, like, how many properties and what stages were you taking on staff, and what were they doing along the way?
Yeah, so I've had so I ran probably about the first, I don't know, 15 to 20 almost by myself, which was probably far too many. I then but I managed to do it. But what I found was I was reconciling bank payments as opposed to finding property, so I hired a bookkeeper first. She then took that weight off my shoulders. I could then view properties again. I then brought in a guest handler and give them a mobile phone and got them to manage the guests. And then I brought in then I brought someone in for marketing. And then I brought in 3 more guest handlers, then the manager, and then it kind of, snowballed from there. So that was kind of my first year and a half, I would say, in terms of acquisitions. But, I went 21 properties in the first 7 months. Then I had like about a 4 to 6 week gap after I kind of blew up a bit. And then we acquired 40 in the next 6 months. So we had like 60 odd properties within the first year, pretty much. And that would probably be that kind of staff level. I think you probably need 1 guest handler for every, depends on the type of units, but typically 20 to 30 units. And then each one will then sort of blow up a bit or need a bit of more support, so then you get someone else in and you give them kind of more properties. So that was kind of my structure. Then along the way, I've used a lot of consultants. So, your Fivers, your Upworks, all that sort of stuff, to just, can you do this? Can you get me that? Can you do this? Can you get me that? And some good, some bad, but you get what you want. But it's one thing I find with marketing is no one knows the industry as well as I do in my business. So no one knows my story better than me. No one knows the company vision, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So I find sometimes that I've hired copywriters and they just miss the mark because they just don't get the business. Even my marketing exec who joined me right at the beginning, I would say it took her a year or so before she started to get used to the lingo of rent and and holiday homes and what we actually did and this and that and the other. So sometimes it's a pain in the arse to write content, but I think the best content quite often comes from yourself because you know the business inside out. So it's finding that perfect copywriter to be able to then write, and I've probably got that now, but obviously I pay a hell of a lot of money for it, and there's a lot of time invested to try and get to know one another so that they fully understand and merge themselves in the business. But from where you're at now, if you could just write 250 to 500 words a day and just post it, that's going to be sufficient to get you going. And you don't, as I said, don't try and over perfect it. Just tell stories. Pick a keyword, think of a story around it, and just tell a story. So property management, Airbnb. So I just go, right, how I fell in Airbnb property management. My top 10 tips about Airbnb property management, whatever it is. Naturally, that type of post is going to attract people looking for property management. So that's an acquisition type of post as opposed to trying to get a guest type of post. So for me, that blog wouldn't sit on Luke Stays, that would sit on Luke Capital Group website. So that's a different, a different strategy. If you want to do guests, you do like I think I still write some stuff every now and then. I kind of pencil a few in just to add a bit of content on everything we're doing. So I wrote one about the World Cup in Qatar because that's going to have an overspill into Dubai. And that's what I kind of ended up writing about in the end, is how Dubai is going to get busy because you can't get into Qatar unless you've got a ticket and blah, 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 blah. So I am looking for people who are going to like World Cup Qatar hotel or book Qatar hotel for the World Cup. They're going to naturally land on the website and then find that most people are going to stay in Dubai, then go to book accommodation in Dubai. So that was the idea of that post, for example. So you've got to just... you've got to get creative with marketing, haven't you? And that's just what it is. And some needs to be long form, some needs to be short form, and there's everything in between. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's just post it. And, I was saying this the other day to Neely and saying, a lot of people think it's quality over quantity. I personally think it's quality quantity. and I think, you don't just want to be putting a load of shit out there, but I do think that especially at the early stages of business, it's all about getting yourself out of obscurity. And you've got to just be posting. And all of a sudden people are like, who's this Stephen kid that keeps posting? I see his name everywhere, Yeah. And half the time they're not even reading the content. They're just seeing you've posted again, you've posted again. And then every now and then people will start investigating, like, who is it and what they do and what the website and the links. And then you start to perfect your quantity and you start to put better quality engaging stuff out there. But for years I just posted whatever, just no real thought about it, just out, and it gets you attention, and I think that's the main thing.
Right. Okay. So to take on that amount of properties, you must have been really on point with your investors, like searching for investors. And
I'll be honest, I self-funded pretty much all of that through my rent-to-rent profits. Right. So the majority of all that stock was rent-to-rent stuff, and probably the last 10 units or so of that first batch, maybe 15 were management as I kind of moved into management. But I set up a lot of properties myself, so it was a lot cheaper, and I probably wouldn't do that if I had my time again, because I think it slowed me down, but it worked. And then I wasn't pulling any money out of the business, so I just reinvested it all back into each property or a new property. And then I also took a 0% credit card out, which bought me about 25 grand's worth of furniture. So that helped. That got me probably another 10 units. And then from that 10, that cash flow was obviously quite considerable. So that would set up another 2 or 3 every single month. So, we were kind of, it was just all getting reinvested back into the business to get it going. But, I've never actually used any investor money for any rent-to-rent stuff. I've only ever used investor money to buy property.
Wow, good going. So, yeah, I mean, it's it might just been a good time. I don't know. It's still, we still take a lot on now, and it's all just set it up and just get it going. And I mean, I'm definitely a lot more focused on brand standards now and the conditions. Like some of the properties I set up back then, like, I wouldn't dream of staying in them now myself, and a lot of them were given back because they just don't fit the bill anymore. They were very much just focused on the money it was going to generate as opposed to the long-term viability of the property. And I think we've run our course with that, and we need to get rid of that stock, and we've been doing quite a bit of that lately, in terms of getting rid of stuff that just doesn't fit the bill anymore, and we don't feel we can turn around for a reasonable budget, and we can put the money back into something that's more modern, ready to go, and doesn't have as much hassle. Oh, yeah. All right, cheers.
Cool. Leah?
So what would you say to post, like, what one post every day, or like how would you do it, like a certain amount a week or something, or?
Yep. So I'll tell you. So we have. I'm a massive fan of post as much as you possibly can. This will give you a bit of an idea. So 3 tweets a day, 1 Facebook page a day, 2 group posts, 1 group post, 2 personal posts on my LinkedIn, 1 on the company page, 1 on the Instagram page, 2. So anywhere from 2 to 3 is probably a decent number. But again, if it's good content, who's to say, you know, you can't post? If you can put 3 or 4 together a day, post 3 or 4 times. I remember when I was being mentored by Grant Cardone, and I don't know whether he still does it, but he sent out a tweet every 30 minutes, 24 hours a day. So like, you know, and he was very much, you know, 10x action, and you got to get yourself out of obscurity and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, it obviously worked very well for him, but he would post on his Twitter every 30 minutes. Obviously through the night, a lot of it's pre-scheduled, but still it was going out every 30 minutes. So what is enough? Probably I would say as much as you can possibly get out there, get it out there, and then just focus on what's working, what's not working, and do more of what's working.
Okay, so you basically think of, like, I suppose your content creation sort of thing. You basically think of a keyword and then just write stuff about it. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, we kind of don't think of a keyword. We analyze what keywords we need, and then we write content around those keywords. So
okay.
you got to, like, that's why we use that like SEM Rush tool, and it tells us which are the best keywords to potentially get us ranked. Then we write about that type of stuff.
I got you. Okay.
So
right, thank you.
Quite often, like, and this is probably where I went wrong at the beginning, I used to write a lot about what I thought was good, or what I thought would make sense, or, you know, what I thought, and especially when I was doing Facebook ads. Whereas now it's like, it doesn't really matter what I think, like, what are the pain points, what's being talked about. Like, if you ever watch anything from Gary V, even to this day, spends hours scrolling through comments on the likes of Twitter and Instagram, just to find out what people are talking about, find out what the pain points are, find out what's topical, what's trending. Then he basically goes and creates his own content around that type of stuff that's being talked about. And that's how he is like an absolute marketing genius, because he understands what people are talking about, and then he goes and talks about it. So naturally people want to go and listen to him. So a lot of marketing is about research.
Yeah. I've just got another one as well. So have you, like, when you first started out, have you been sort of like worried about, you know, getting like loads of property in one area, or like when did you start to, I suppose, expand to other cities?
If you know anything about me, I don't get worried about anything. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but that's just my personality. I did probably get to, I don't know, 30 or so units in Newcastle, and think maybe I need to go to a different city. That wasn't so much worried about saturation, because I think the saturation point is probably 100 times greater than what anybody ever thinks it is. In every single city around the UK, there's that many people traveling and needing accommodation that, you know, I just think it's impossible to get saturated. But I pushed into another territory because I wanted to expand and grow, as opposed to getting worried about having too many in one place.
Okay.
You'll always find people wanting to book if you've got the right locations.
Yeah.
Branka?
The question I have is about a website. So I don't have a website, and I know that lots of people have gone to Fiverr to get someone to do that. Do you think that's wise, or should I you know, starting from scratch, starting with a better base, or and invest more there, or should I just do like everybody else?
I think I mean, like, if you want recommendations for websites, Amy, who initially designed all mine, wasn't a fortune. I mean, we've totally reworked them all now, and the team in Dubai, we've probably changed every page since. But we had a really good, nice, sort of solid foundation to work from. And I think as you, because we also have a tool called Mouseflow, which we plug into the back end of all the websites. And we can then, what Mouseflow does is it basically records every user session. So someone comes onto your website, Mouseflow records what they do. So you'll see like how far down the page they scroll, what buttons they're clicking on, what the hotspots are. And then by just watching, 20 or 30 sessions once a week, you can start saying, okay, well, people aren't actually scrolling to the bottom of that page. Probably 2 out of 10 are getting past 40% of the scroll. Yet we've got all of our key info like at the bottom of the page. So let's put the key info at the top of the page. And then you watch the sessions the next week and you see how it changes. And that's how you kind of keep tweaking your website and making it fit. But I think for now, just get a very standard WordPress website made up, and then you can, make tweaks and changes, or even just pay someone on the cheap to do it. But even the blogs and stuff, you can add quite easily. As long as they've created the sections for you to put it in and put the pictures in and stuff like that. So, but I think, everybody, whether you're kind of, in the franchise, not in the franchise, or doing it on your own, I think everybody should have two websites. One is for acquisitions and one is for guests. So obviously, if you're in the franchise, you've kind of got the guest side covered, because that's the Luke Stays website and that's the idea behind it all. We kind of doing that for everybody. On the acquisition side, I do think it would always be good to have, sales funnel type websites where you can generate your own leads and traffic, and you can write your own blogs, and you can, create your own sort of property management house type front end, and then, secure those properties in. And, I don't think there's any harm in that. And then, talking about backlinks, the more all of our websites backlink to each other, the better it is for everyone. So you talk about that, Luke Stays, and you talk about that, and that, and it just automatically backlinks, and it helps everybody's websites. So there is, in the olden days, before Google was too clever, a lot of people used to just set up, like, say, 400 website domains, put up a WordPress, mention the other website, and that was a backlink. And then that used to tick the box. But again, now it doesn't work like that. So it's a lot more, it's better now, because you've got to actually be really good at what you're doing to